Hello, this is Claude again, and we're talking about your homeowner's policy. Right now, I'd like to talk about how you might save money on your premium. Uh, you have a deductible that might be able to be increased. The deductible is the amount of money that you pay out for a claim, for a covered claim. That would be your part of it, really before the company would be paying anything. Chances are you've got $1,000 deductible on your policy. Let's just say that you're able to have a $2,000 deductible or even higher, a $5,000 deductible. Your premium will be lower. We can analyze and see would that be low enough for you? Would that be worthwhile to take, instead of $1,000 deductible, make it a $2,000 deductible or a $5,000 deductible? So let us know. We'll be glad to analyze that for you. Before you make that change, though, also, we'll need to check with your mortgage company. If you have a loan in your home, and the mortgage company will be interested in that, knowing, and would they be accepting a $2,000 deductible instead of $1,000, or would they accept a $5,000 deductible instead of a $1,000 deductible? That's an important thing to be aware of. As we're talking about deductibles, you might look and see on your homeowner's policy, does it say anything about a percentage deductible? Because often on policies we will see perhaps wind and hail 1% deductible, or it might say wind and hail 2% deductible. What does that mean? Well, that means for the deductibles for that type of claim, a wind and hail type of claim, would be 1% or 2%, not the $1,000 deductible that you perhaps have in your policy. 1% of what, or 2% of what? Well, it's 1% of your dwelling amount. So you've got 1% of your $200,000 house, let's just say 1%, that's $2,000. So you thought you had a deductible of $1,000, but in this case, because it's a wind and hail claim, you've got a $2,000 deductible, and that's a surprise for you. Or if it's a 2% deductible, you've got a $4,000 deductible on that $200,000 house, and that may be a surprise to you. We review that when we're looking at declarations pages for people to make sure they understand. We actually prepare for a claim, assuming that you will have a claim. I think it's a very good business plan to do, very good personal plan for you to do as well, to consider what will happen if and when I have that to occur. Let's talk about other ways of saving money on your homeowner's policy. You've heard this term a lot over the last several years, bundling, and you know what that is. That's getting your homeowner's insurance and your auto insurance with the same company. Many times that can be an advantage. Not every time, but many times that can be an advantage. And we like doing that wherever possible. It gives a lower premium for both policies with those discounts. Something else which often is a benefit, a side benefit, hope this doesn't happen to you, but it has, with a bundled policy, with an auto policy and a home policy with the same company. If there's a claim that involves both the auto and the home, let's just say that one of you backed into your garage door, messed it up terribly. Well, you've got one deductible in many cases with companies who have their home and their auto together. So that's just something else to look at. And we'll be glad to discuss that with you as well. So we've talked of two things. One is raising the deductible. Another thing is having your auto and home together in the same company, which is bundling. You might look at security systems. That usually it's not a large amount of discount, but there's something there. Make sure your company is considering the security system that you have, or it may just be the deadbolt locks and the fire extinguisher and the smoke detector, just basic things like that you should have in your home. That may provide a discount. Make sure that your current company is aware that you have those items. That's a big deal. Some companies talk about discounts for seniors and military. Also, life insurance. If you have your life insurance with that same company, often they will provide an additional discount for you. Or another policy like an umbrella liability policy. All of those things just have that much more potential for giving discounts for you, depending on which company it is. Allow us to take a look at your policy. Give us a call. We have several companies to work with, and we fit your concerns to the company that helps you best, not just to one company. We've got several companies to choose from. So let us know. We'll try to save you some money and have better coverage too. Thanks.